Welcome back to Wellness Wave. Thanks for tuning in this morning to ride the wave with us. Each week our goal is to give you at least one suggestion that will make your life a little bit better. Please remember that everything we discuss on the show is for informational purposes only and should not be taken as medical advice or exercise advice unless you have an expert like Mike watching you. We got a great show today. Mike and I met. Actually, I went by. He's basically in Leicester, so we love having Leicester businesses on here. Yeah. So I go back and forth from the show, and I see this giant sign, Atlantic Athletics, and I said, "What the heck is Atlantic Athletics?"
Go in and check it out, right?
So I went by. I shot Mike over an email, and I said, we'd like to promote, Leicester businesses, and also promote health and exercise.
Right.
So. Good combination.
Absolutely.
So what I did, I sent him an email, and Mike said, great. He said, I'd like to talk to you. So I stopped by the gym, and for people that know me, I'm a big gym rat, so I'm at the gym all the time. So I'm always looking for something a little bit different. Went in, Mike and I had a really, really long talk, and we have actually a lot of common friends by accident.
We do, right? And I think it's funny because when we initially said we were going to talk, we thought about blocking out about 15 minutes or so, and we talked, for about an hour, Phil?
Yeah.
Just had a really great conversation about health, wellness, and really understanding how many people we do have in common that are still in this health and wellness arena.
Right, exactly. So we were on the same page. And for people to know, I don't have anybody on my show that I wouldn't use myself, wouldn't recommend, friends and family. Same with my radio show. Everybody on there, I consider real legit. I don't have any sketchy people on my show. At least I try not to. Other than me, I'm the only sketchy one on the show. So Mike talked a lot, and I'm also a personal trainer. I'm also a biochemist. Good to say that. My name is Phil George. I'm a clinical biochemist, personal trainer, and health coach. And so I've been doing this for many, many years, and I've trained many people. So I'm very, very familiar with the industry. And I was really impressed with Mike because Mike, in my opinion, really knows his stuff and has a unique take. So because I know what I do, because I train people, I go to what they call the big box gyms. Nothing against the big box gyms. I belong to Planet Fitness. I also belong to Crunch Fitness. And that's what you call the big box gyms. You walk in there and basically you're on your own.
Yeah.
Unless you want to pay at least, $65, $100 for a trainer, whatever it is. So
yep.
you would have to pay extra, basically to see what's going on. And Mike and I were speaking actually before the show. And Mike, you think it's like 80% of people that join these gyms?
Yeah, at least some pre-COVID statistics, about 2.5, 3 years ago, statistics showed that about 80% of people that belong to big box, low cost, low barrier to entry gym types really don't even attend, but they'll pay that fee because it's such a small fee to pay every month. But quite frankly, if you're paying the fee, you should be getting some kind of results, right? But that requires that you go, that you show up. There's a little bit of accountability there. And that's one of the things that we try to focus on at Atlantic Athletics is building in that accountability. Listen, the revenue's great, but we don't just want your revenue. We want to make sure that you're there. We want to see you show up. We want to see you make some progress in your health and fitness.
Right. They call it actually, I heard it referred to as a fat tax. Yeah. Because what happens is, real life story. My wife, it's interesting, I'm a little bit into genetics. So there's something called the warrior gene.
Yep. And
actually it's something I have. So I like to exercise.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm assuming you get the warrior gene too.
Yep.
My wife, she has the anti-warrior gene. She hates to exercise. So for her birthday one year, we had, in fact, what's the name of that woman's thing that you had, used to be in where you are?
Yep.
Fitness zone or whatever.
Shaping zone.
Shaping zone.
Yes.
So we had a shaping zone literally around the corner from us. So I went in there, and it's for women only. And a lot of women are intimidated going to a gym for whatever reasons. And so it was just women only, and they socialized. So I bought her, I paid for a year's membership. Yep. And she went a couple of times. And you want to guess what happened after that?
That was it. Stopped going, right? Yeah, paid the tax, though.
But I was paying for it, and I thought if I paid for it, she would go.
Yeah.
But she didn't go. But I didn't want to give up on her.
Right.
So I kept on paying it. So I think that's what happens. So if you go over there, you're saying, you know what? Manana, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next month. So there's no accountability there.
Right.
So one of the things I really liked about Atlantic is when I went in there, first of all, I saw it more like we talked about like a family.
Absolutely.
So one of the things, and the accountability.
Yep.
So one of the things is, if you go into these big box gyms, you're on your own. Either you're on looking at your YouTube, or you're watching the biggest guy or the most muscular girl in the gym. What are they doing? And but you don't know what you're doing. There's no assessment. It would be like you going to see a doctor and not seeing a doctor. Oh, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and have no blood tests,
Absolutely.
no nothing,
Right.
no know what's going on. So what I like about Atlantic is they go in with you, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Sure.
but initially there's no cost for this.
Right.
An assessment.
Yep.
You would assess. They would say, well, I'm trying this. Can you tell us a story about the deadlift you were telling to Artemis?
Absolutely. So just to touch on what you were saying, we have what we call our 3 for free. So someone reaches out and they said, hey, we'd like to pop in, check out the gym. Please feel free to do so. Come on in, take a tour, meet myself, meet the 6 coaches that work along with me, and then feel free to try any 3 of our classes, all complimentary.
Wow.
Anybody can have a good experience going in for one class. We want you to try out more than one, and we don't want there to be any type of cost commitment on your end. So come in, take our 3 for free program, meet our coaches, try the early morning class, try the late afternoon class, try the midday class, and get a sense of what that feels like. So I have a longtime client that was working out with a friend of hers, and they were at a different gym and they were working out, and my longtime client said to her friend, she goes, I know that what you're doing isn't quite right in that lift, but I'm not sure exactly how to fix it. Do you want to go see Mike at Atlantic? So they came in, and this friend of hers, who's now been one of our members for over 8 months, came in and said, when I squat, I always experience this back pain. And Phil, like you and I have talked, we shouldn't experience back pain. A healthy individual shouldn't experience back pain when they squat. So we did a movement assessment. We adjusted, corrected a couple of things, changed the positioning of the hips and the hinge, shifted the weight back onto the heels, changed the positioning of the knees and the torso. And her face just lit up and she said, that's the first time that I've ever been able to perform a back squat properly and without pain. Now we're 8.5 months later, and she's deadlifting with great form, performing her front squats and her back squats and her chest press. And it's just opened up a whole new world. And that's where that accountability comes in. You and I have talked about, if I have to get up at 6 a.m. and show up to go to the gym and I'm just going in by myself, chances are I'm going to want to stay in my bed. It's 6 a.m., it's cold out. But if I know that I have a class full of other people waiting on me, my coach is waiting for me, I'm more apt to show up and be accountable not just to my coach and to myself, but to that group of people. So that's one of the first pieces that we focus on, is that accountability. Second, we focus on providing a structured program for you. I've been in that same position where I walk into a corporate Globo gym or a box gym and just walk in and have no idea what I'm doing. But I'll say, well, XYZ YouTuber did this and it worked for him. Maybe that'll work for me. Each of our bodies are a little different, right? So the program that works specifically for you might need some modifications in order for it to work for me. So we make sure that our coaches have a program that they're following for the class, and they watch to ensure that each individual in class is working correctly, not just movement, but moving with purpose and movement with good form to get you to a final point here with your exercise. We use an 8 to 10 week strength cycle. So we start off with a baseline, and over the course of 8 to 10 weeks, we see some progress in each one of those movements. Sometimes it's in regard to capacity, sometimes it's in regard to load, sometimes it's in regard to cleaning up a movement pattern and making sure that you're moving correctly and that there's no pain. But typically at the end of an 8 to 10 week cycle, you've made some progress. Strength capacity, aerobic capacity, anaerobic capacity, it's really cool just to see that.
Right, correct me if I'm wrong here,
Of course.
but the other thing is, what I find is, even though you think you're doing the movement right, you actually aren't. I'll give you a real example.
Sure.
I got a good friend of mine, another big-time gym rat. This guy is actually ripped, 9 ways to Sunday, tremendous shape, exercises. He's almost obsessed with exercising.
Right.
And I walked by him, and he was doing what's called a plank, which
Yep.
is kind of like you're on all fours. It's a really great exercise. Somebody wants to try
4
plank.
points of contact.
Yep.
Was he in the hands or in the elbows?
On the elbows.
Yep, low plank.
But he wasn't flat.
No midline stability.
His rump was up in the air,
Yeah.
and this guy's been doing this for years. And
Yeah.
I said, Mark, did you realize your back's not flat?
Yeah.
How would you know that unless you had somebody to
Exactly,
do it?
right.
It's the same things. There's so many things that you guys do. Kettlebells, right?
We do.
Okay, kettlebells, great exercise.
Yep.
But again, unless you do it right.
Right.
So the whole point is, in my opinion, is your two most valuable things are your health and your time.
Absolutely.
Okay? Because there's only so much time. If you're going to spend X amount of time going to the big box gym or something like that, and you're spending time, and you're doing all the exercises wrong to begin with.
Sure.
First of all, we talked, you could hurt yourself.
Absolutely.
Which is a big. One of the things I think in training, I borrow from medicine, is first do no harm.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
So first do no harm. So you could wind up with a lot of problems unless you have an expert like yourself or one of your trainers working with it. So you have to be shown. And I do health coaching mostly now, and I tell all my clients, my ultimate goal is to have you fire me.
Exactly.
Because once you know what you're doing, but they're not going to fire you, because once they know what they're doing, then it's the accountability.
Yeah.
Their friends are there. Let's talk a little bit about the socialization we talked about
Absolutely. We like to refer to our members as our gym family. People look forward to coming in, not just working out together. I mean, frankly, Phil, we have some workouts that, man, they're tough sometimes, but we come in, we commiserate about how awful the workout was, we sweat together, and then we say, that was great, let's do it again tomorrow. What I really love is at the end of class, the next class is getting ready to come in, but the people from the previous class haven't left yet. They're hanging out in the lobby. They're chatting with each other. They're not just talking about the workout. They're talking about their families. They're talking about work. They've built these relationships, and we love that. I love when I see that there might be someone that I haven't seen for about a week or so at the gym, and one of the other members says, hey, I'm going to reach out to Phil and find out where he's been. Or they'll say to me, hey, did you know that Phil is away on a trip, or whatever the case may be. But they've built these relationships, and when you have that relationship, you've added an extra layer to that accountability. We have that extra accountability. It means that we're more than likely going to be even more successful in our fitness goals. And that's really the whole goal. You touched on something there about a couple of important factors. My day is broken up. My wife will tell you, my day is broken up into 30 and 60-minute segments. I like to have everything very, very scheduled. So if I'm going to spend 30 or 60 or 90 minutes on a task, I want to make sure that it's effective. And the same applies to my workout. I block out time every day for my workout. I don't have time to waste. I need to follow a program that's going to yield me some results, so that I know that when the time that I'm investing is going to be fruitful and give me those results that I'm looking for. So to be able to do that in an environment where I have other people that are working towards the same goal and encouraging us on, it's awesome. One of my favorite things to see is when we have a new member come in, and maybe they're struggling a little bit to keep up with the class, and the more experienced members say, listen, take your time. We've all been there. Don't worry about how long it takes you to finish or what kind of weight you're using. Coach Mike will tell you, they'll say, move well first before you move fast. And that's so key. I love that we do the workouts together. We finish the workouts together. We celebrate it later. Then we come back and do some more.
The other thing we talked about, really important, is socialization.
Absolutely.
We talked before, I call it the three legs of the stool. If one of them is out of whack, the stool is wobbly. The first one is nutrition, exercise, and then the socialization.
Yeah.
They've done tons of studies. There's a famous book called The Blue Zones, and they found that people that live healthy for a long period of time, like in Italy and Greece, as they get older, they're always socializing all the time.
Yep.
And people, as they get older, unfortunately, their friends die, or they're not working anymore. There's no social, they're not doing here. So what I see, the other big benefit, again, in terms of the family gym as opposed to the big box gym, is if they don't show up for a few days, people are texting them.
Absolutely.
What's going on? They're not come to the gym. They're just like, are you okay?
Right.
And the other thing is, even if you, like we talked, even if you don't necessarily, I don't want to go work out today, I just don't want to do it. But you know what, I'm going to see Mary and Joe, and I haven't seen them in so, and that's the motivation.
Man, it is, isn't it? It's sometimes, exactly, you hit the nail on the head. Sometimes it's, man, I'm not looking forward to this workout today, but you know what? I'm going to see my gym family, and it's a really great thing. Just before I came in, one of my staff was talking to me about sometimes the victory is in just showing up, right? That's it. And we encourage folks in that sometimes, said, look, I know this is going to be a tough workout today, or maybe this is a movement pattern that you're still trying to learn, but you showed up. That's the first step. We're going to take it from here. And that's great. And I got to tell you, more often than not, when I see people that just show up, they leave with a big smile on their face, and they're always very glad that they at least showed up, right? And then built from there.
Right. And the other thing, again, is that whole socialization should go in this. You're getting everything. And with me, funny, when I go to the gym, I've developed some long-term friends.
Sure.
You just like, it's the whole thing. It's the other thing, you're sharing a commonality. You're working out together, and you can bitch about the workout, and you can bitch about, Mike's pushing me too hard, but You know, the whole thing is, and when the veterans group hired me to actually give seminars to veterans to try to get them in shape, I was actually going to try to do a fitness thing. It didn't work out, but it was mostly health and nutrition. But they said to me in the beginning when they brought me in, they said, you know what? They said, we've got these guys coming in every month, and the guys, you know, they're polite, but they're bored out of their minds.
Right.
So I said, you know what? I could go out there and I could do my lecture and blah, 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 and they're going to be bored out of their mind too. But my job is to motivate them.
Absolutely.
Motivate them.
Right.
So what I would do is, when with the nutrition, I would intermittent fasting, time restricted eating, and I said, okay, guys, I want you just to try this. Then the next class I come back, okay, guys, how did that work? That went great. I lost 5 pounds. And vets are very competitive.
Of course.
If that idiot can do it, I can do it. So they kind of motivate themselves.
Great.
So not only motivation from you,
right.
There's motivation, and like you just said, you know what? I've been through it.
Right.
I came in here, I couldn't lift 5 pounds.
Right.
And now I can lift 20 pounds. Yeah. And the other thing I know, you know, Mike knows, is something called progressive overload.
Yep.
You start off with 5 pounds, and then Mike knows you have the chart.
We do. So we have both a whiteboard up in the gym where members can record what their progress looks like, but we also, the software that we use, which is up on class on the screen, but members also have access to it on the app on their phones or their computer, tracks all that progress for them. So you can literally look and see a progressive graph and also your percentages to see how that progressive overload program is working for you. And it's really cool to look and say, hey, you know what? When I first started, I was struggling with the 35-pound deadlift, but now I'm at 135 pounds, and most importantly, with good form, with no pain. We love that. That's what we're all about. Not just seeing what type of weight can we move and shove around, but can we do that with good form? Can we do that while we're making some good progressions and making some good impacts onto our health and wellness overall for the long term? You know, the recommended dosage of exercise is 150 minutes a week, minimum. That's only 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Minimum. Of course, if we want to see better progress, we need to increase that a bit. Our classes run an hour in length. I'll tell you what, you come to 2-3 classes a week, you've hit that minimum. A lot of the thinking is done for you. The program is already written out. There's a warm-up that our coaches write every day. There's a strength program that's already pre-programmed, and we know what we're doing for the 8 to 10 weeks. And then we get into our metabolic conditioning. Some days it's work that affects our breathing and our capacity on either our rowers or our air bikes, the ski erg or running. Other times it's strength-based cardio, and that's typically what we'll use. We use our barbells and our dumbbells and our kettlebells and our jump rope. And we're very efficient with our time. We wrap up with some core work, some accessory work, some stretching and mobility, have you in and out in an hour, and look at that. You're already knocked out 60 minutes of that 150 minutes that you need a week.
The other thing I've noticed, anybody that's been into a big box gym, I see this all the time. They're on the machine. You know what they're doing, Mike?
On their phone? Yeah.
They're texting.
Absolutely.
Well, honey, did you go to? Yeah, I went to the gym. I was there for half an hour.
Absolutely.
And 15 minutes of that time, they're at there. So, about the coordinated workouts, you have a very specific system.
We do.
So you're not sitting there on the phone. You're moving.
That's it.
So and that's the whole thing. So if you're paying X amount for the big box gym, and you can spend first of all, you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
You could hurt yourself.
Right.
And the other thing is, again, you're probably looking at your phone or checking out the pretty girls in the gym.
A lot of time is wasted, right, with distractions. Oftentimes it's the phone. Oftentimes it's not knowing what the work-rest ratio should be. So working, completing a set, but then taking far too long in that rest period, then the body is cooled down, you're starting off in that next set, and you're basically starting again from step one. So making sure that we've built in the appropriate amount of rest to work ratio and keeping you moving. Because you're right, if I have 60 minutes in the gym, I want to make sure that most of that time has been spent in active minutes, not 60 minutes in the gym, but only 10 minutes active and the rest scrolling, right?
Right, and with you, it's not approximate. It is 100%. So there's no there. The other thing Mike brought up, a lot of people don't realize, and I know Mike knows there's a lot of studies on this. When you're doing weight training, lifting weights or whatever, there's a certain X amount of time you need between the next set.
Absolutely, right.
And a lot of people, they'll just go from one to the other, or they'll take too long.
Right.
So what happens is Mike can say, okay, you need to take, the 30 seconds or the minute, depending on what it is. So again, to get the maximum out of your workout, you're there anyway. And again, time is our most valuable asset. We only have X amount of time. You make them. I think we talked too. There's a guy that wrote a book, Atomic Habits, James Clear.
Yep.
Great book, guys. James Clear, Atomic Habits, fantastic books. You have to get into a routine. There's also a famous book, you know, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People,
Stephen Covey.
Tools of Titans. These are things that, what do successful people do? And they have a very specific routine that they do all the time, and that makes them successful. But again, like you're saying, they're maximizing their time.
Absolutely.
So you only have so much time. You maximize it. So if they go to Atlantic, basically, they're able, you get them through the whole thing, and then they probably go on automatic pilot after that because...
Yeah, you know, we tell people, look, the hardest step is that first step, coming through the door for that initial consultation. And I think the hardest step after that, the second hardest step, is your first workout. But you come in for that first workout and you see what your body can do. And listen, we both know if you haven't been exercising for a while, that first workout, you're going to be sore for a few days. We have a new gentleman that just joined us about a week and a half ago. Yesterday was actually his 4th workout. He was in my afternoon class. Yesterday we had a partner workout, and he was working out with one of our longtime members. And they were doing a partner movement. And as I happened to be walking by, and that's one of the other things we do, Phil, is during class, our coaches are involved in the class. We're constantly walking through, making sure that the movement patterns that people are using in their exercise is correct. We don't just set the timer and go, but we're involved in your program. So I'm watching these 2 guys work out, and as they're completing their movement, our longtime member sits up and he talks to the other guy, says, you thought this stuff was going to be easy, didn't you? The guy's cracking up. He says, I promise, it gets better from here. That first step, come in for the consult. That second step, come in for that first workout. And then from there, it becomes a habit, and you really just look forward to getting to the gym. One of my personal training clients was saying that he knows that he's turned a corner because when we first started working out together, he had to really kind of force himself to show up for his personal training sessions. Now, he looks forward to them and wants to know, when can he get in more exercise? That's great. It's become a habit, and it's starting to make a positive impact in his life and in his wellness.
The other thing I want to bring up, I mentioned several times, there's a condition called sarcopenia, which just means wasting away the muscles.
Yes.
So what happened, as we get older, our muscles don't regenerate as much as they should.
Right.
And we had Art on the show last week, and Art talked, and Art, whether he realizes or not, he's doing a lot of squats because he's building up what's called the quadriceps, which are the muscles, above your knees. And Art's recovery was phenomenal. The physical therapist couldn't believe it, you know, how fast he recovered. So you want to get those muscles strong beforehand.
Absolutely.
Okay. You don't want to wait until you need it. The other thing is, if you want to be able to pick up your grandkids and stuff like that, other thing people don't realize, I'll speak to men and women, but specifically for women, is what happens is as you reach perimenopause and menopause, you start losing bone mass.
Right.
You heard of osteopenia, osteoporosis.
Yep.
So a woman especially, she has to build up a reserve of those bones.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize this, but what happens when you do strength training, you're also building up your bones.
Absolutely.
Okay. There's something, a little bit of biochemistry, it's something called osteoblast, and these are cells that go in there and they put bones in there. So what happens when you exercise with resistance training, you're actually building bone mass in addition to it. People don't realize, but actually bones bend quite a bit. They don't realize they bend quite a bit. So what's happening is you're building up, you're not only building muscle,
Right.
you're building bone. The other things, a lot of studies, exercise is more effective than antidepressants.
Right.
So if you're a little bit down, a little bit, you know, what's happening is you're getting in a better mood. You're releasing a lot of what they call human growth hormone, which means it builds it up. And women have testosterone, and it's very important for women to have testosterone because it gives them a feeling of well-being and also mental clarity. So you're getting all that benefit. You're getting bone. You're getting bone strength. You're getting muscle strength. You're getting mental clarity. You're getting socialization.
Absolutely.
You're kind of getting the whole package.
Yep. You know, I got to tell you, it's been I've been in the health and wellness and the fitness industry for 15 years. Been in Atlantic Athletics. Our gym will be celebrating its 8-year anniversary this coming June. And in all this time, I have yet to come across a person who has come in for a class, for a personal training session, and has left and saying, oh, well, now I feel miserable. But you're right, people come in, maybe they're not in the best mood, but I'll tell you what, that release that you get when you're working out, they leave and say, man, I'm exhausted, but I feel great. And that's exactly what we want to see.
Plus, Mike, we live in a very stressful society.
Absolutely.
There's a famous book, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, by David Sobolski. He's basically a professor at Stanford, and he's talking about, you know, if the zebra's walking around, he's happy, the lion chases him, he runs away. Okay, all the cortisol, everything's going off. If two things happen: either he gets eaten by the lion or he escapes. When he escapes, he doesn't worry anymore.
Right.
But people, the husband yells at you, the wife yells at you, the boss, you're releasing cortisol. And
Absolutely.
you sit there. Cortisol causes a lot of inflammation. But if you go to the gym, you're releasing all the cortisol because, again, you're running away from the lion in your brain. So that's another reason to reduce stress and reduce cortisol.
You know, Phil, about 2 weeks ago, I had a meeting with my team, and one of the things we talked about was, man, our members come from all different walks of life. We have people that are dealing with a lot of different things, maybe work stressors or health or whatever the case may be. When they come into the gym for that 1 hour, we want to make that the best hour of their day. Put everything else aside, put those stressors aside, and come in and take a break from each of those different things and make this that 1 hour where you can just kind of set everything aside and really focus on your health, your wellness, and you leave feeling significantly better.
Right. The other thing is they found is, and I found this to be true with me. Sometimes I'll go to the gym and I'll be a little bit, I know, aches and pains.
Sure.
Which is really weird. After the workout, the aches and pains are gone.
They're gone, right?
Which is freaky. I haven't looked at the mechanism of action on that, but it's really, really freaky. And the other thing you just get, there's a neurochemical in your brain called dopamine. And what they found is it's that that you've actually accomplished something.
Right.
And it gives you a good feeling, and I think the dopamine could be down-regulating that type of stuff.
Sure.
So there's so many benefits. So I guess what I'm saying to the audience, give it a chance. It's 3 free. Three free.
Yep.
We should use that saying, 3 free.
That's what we call it, 3 for free. So come in, 3 classes for free. I mean, 3 classes for free, you're getting 180 minutes of exercise. If the minimum standard is 150, we get you that 150 plus an extra 30 minutes, right? So you're coming in and you're trying out our program, you're seeing what we're all about, because it's one thing for you and I to talk about this, but it's another thing for somebody to come in and actually experience and see how our class flows and how it works together and how it can impact and benefit them as well. And that's what we want to do is, our goal at Atlantic Athletics is to make exercise accessible to as many people as possible and really just help them to understand the capacity and the capability of their bodies. The goal is not to move as fast or lift as heavy as the people that are next to you, but to be the healthiest version of yourself that you can be. So if you're struggling with your squat today, we want to help you with those biomechanics. We want to help teach you how to bring the crease of your hip down below the line of the knee, help to push off through the heel rather than coming forward on the toe, and exactly be able to get up and down off the ground. One of my clients told me that she was at a family function. She was on the floor playing with her granddaughter, and family members were just kind of looking at her as she's able to get up and off the ground without any problem and sitting on the ground without getting aches and pains in her knees and hips. And they said, oh, that's right. It's because she works out, right? And that's accessible to, our goal is to make that accessible to as many people as possible. I think I'm going to mention, it's never too late. You can always build muscle all the time. It gets harder. I'm not going to fool people. It gets harder. But the whole point is, as you get older, I remember a whole thing, Roger Clemens, the pitcher for the Red Sox, right? And I remember him throwing, he says, like, I got to work so much harder because I'm older. Tom Brady, as he's, going up there, he's one of the top. But again, he works very, very hard, and he works very, very hard in terms of what he's doing. So again, it's guys, what do you got to lose? what do you got to lose? Give it a shot. A New Year's has passed. Everybody New Year's resolutions, blah blah blah. But it's spring now. It's springtime now. Now's the time. Go with your fresh start, springtime, fresh start. Give it a chance. And again, I've been doing this a long time. I'm a certified trainer. I go to the gym. Really impressed with Mike. So Mike, how do they reach you? So folks can reach us a couple of different ways. You can find us on our website, atlanticathleticsclub.com. You can reach us at 508-892-8085. Or feel free to stop by if you're in the Leicester area. If you're coming in from Worcester, we're about 1/10 of a mile past the entering Leicester sign. If you're in Leicester, we're in the red brick Smith building right by the Worcester line. We'd love to have you pop in, stop in, get a chance for us to meet you, check out our facility, and hopefully have a great workout together. Yeah, and again, so I was out to Mike's place, to Atlantic. It's a great place. Thank you. A huge gym. He has all of the major equipment there that you can use. But again, I think we really need to emphasize that you're so much different because it's that family. And I was so impressed with the mobile app. Yeah. So I've never seen that before. It's cool, right? It's really cool. Yeah.
And it's the board too, so you can walk in there, and it's good. It's very important to track your progress.
Absolutely.
Because again, it's a feeling. You know what you say? I started off and I was lifting 5 pounds before, and now I'm lifting 20 pounds or whatever.
It's great to see that, isn't it? You see that progress. You know that you're not just coming in and moving, but you're moving towards a goal.
And the other thing, the socialization, I think, again, is so huge
So
with that.
important.
So we talked about we haven't talked about this yet. The 15 minutes that turned into an hour with Mike and I. Then we went off on nutrition, and that's my favorite subject in the world.
We'll talk about that next time,
Yeah.
right?
So that's my favorite subject in the world. So we talked a lot about that, and so obviously you need nutrition. And the other thing that Mike does, because we haven't talked about, is Mike's going to go in and give you all the nutrition part. One of the things in terms of when I got certified as ACE, and you're certified in one?
Yes, through NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine, and through CrossFit.
Okay, so he's got two certifications. The other thing is you want somebody. You don't want to go see a doctor that got his degree off of a matchbook cover. So
Right.
You want this guy knows what he's
Right.
doing. And again, I'm a certified personal trainer. Spent an hour with Mike. Mike knows what he's doing. So I attest to that. So, but the other thing is the nutrition part. And when I did my certification, in fact, I was emailing, because I'm a biochemist, back and forth. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong.
Yeah.
This has been disproven 7 years ago. So a lot of personal trainers, they know about training, or they the whole thing through the certification. A lot of that stuff is wrong.
Right.
So what Mike's able to do is to get you dialed in, not only with the exercise, it's also getting you dialed in with the nutrition
Man, that
part.
nutrition is the foundation, right? Let's come in, let's clean up that nutrition, let's start adding some movement into your daily routine, and we'll see what type of progress you make from there.
Right. So again, remember, see Mike at Atlantic Athletics.
Yep.
Right down. It was funny because again, I used to drive by. What the heck is that place?
Yeah.
So it's a way to not only get the nutrition component. It's also a way to get the movement incorporated. Also to get involved in terms of the family type of thing.
Come in and be part of our community. Come in, check out, see what we're all about. Meet our members. Go on our website, read our reviews. Come in and talk to our people. I can sit here and talk to you about this all day, but our members will tell you, they'll tell you their experience, and quite frankly, their experience will be just like what I'm telling you about. But come in and experience and see what the Atlantic Athletics family is all about.
Well, the other thing, I checked out the website, the Google reviews, the Yelp reviews, all 5-star,
Yep.
all
We're very
5-star
thankful for that.
reviews.
Yep.
So I think it's not only what we're saying, we
Right.
also what the members say. And again, I just found it so much unique in terms of, and again, it's frustrating for me because I'm into health and fitness, is to go to these gyms and see these poor people. The big thing, what I've noticed in terms of everybody, they think they're going to lose weight on the treadmill.
Right.
So all those treadmills are, and they're walking, and a lot of people don't realize you get much more bang for your buck from resistance training.
Yeah, and those weights are left over in the corner, no one's touching them, and that's where you make the progress, right?
Yeah, the whole thing. So again, what's going to happen is just like with your other clients, what's happening is you're going to come in, you'll do an assessment. The person can say, you know what, my knees really hurt, and then you may say, okay, let's watch you
Right.
do a squat. Let's watch you do this. Let's watch you do that. Then all of a sudden, eureka!
Well, because our goal is to find out the what behind the why. Your knee's hurting, cool, and let's trace that movement pattern. Is there something going on at the ankle, or is there something going on with the hip? Let's figure out what that is, let's try to correct that, and then move forward from there.
The other thing, I've had so many on this show. We've had chiropractors on. I've had podiatrists on. I'd have every conceivable person on there that you can imagine, and they all say the same. They all say the same thing. So we're telling us to wrap up, so we have to wrap up. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Tune in next week. We have another great show for you. I'll see ya.
See what happens when you and I start talking.
One of the most common questions I'm asked as a biochemist and health coach is, what are the best supplements to take? Choosing supplements is a tricky business. Many companies have poor quality control and questionable ingredients. In the past, I had to send clients to several different websites. I am now able to offer one-stop shopping for all the quality brands I recommend, with no shipping cost and a lower price in most cases. just email me, philgeorge@charter.net, for a free consult.